So we're gonna start problem 5. This is talking about Ivan's Igloos. So one thing I really want to catch, well, let's read the problem first actually. It says, calculate the cash collections for the months of October and November by month. Show your calculations. So looking through this, we have total sales here. So this isn't quite sales on account. And that's because it says past history indicates that 25% of Ivan's customers pay cash at the time of purchase. So that means that we're going to have to potentially reduce that, or we will reduce this by 25%. Additionally, for this problem, it says that payment history shows that Ivan's Igloos collects 30% of their sales on account in the month of sale and 65% in the month following the sale, and the remainder is hardly ever collected. So let's start with the cash collections, and then we'll move on to the following problem. So I like to make kind of a schedule before I get started. I think I was talking about that earlier. So I'm just going to fill in some of these numbers. So total sales, so the months I want to do are September, October, November, and December. So the total sales for these months, I'm just going to, I can't see that, sorry. I'm just going to fill these in. So 400,000, 350,000 below that. November is 300,000, and then December is 320,000. Okay, so that's our total sales. And then there was that comment about the 25% that's paid in cash. So we're going to have to reduce our total sales by that in order to find what our sales on account is. So we could do this by multiplying 400,000. I would do it multiply this by 75%, and then you don't have to do any adding or subtracting. But you could also do 400,000 times 25% and then reduce 400,000 by 25% in that way if it makes more sense to see the full process. So I got 300,000, 262,500, and 225,000. I just realized I didn't need December. Sorry about that, guys. So I erased that. Okay, so now I want to do my cash collections. And I like to make a little table up here for myself just so I remember. So it looks like it says that 30% was in the month of sale and 65% in the month following. So I like to write my little table and do month of and then following. So that would give me 30%. Ooh, that's not very good. 30% and 65%. Okay, so let's start with September. So September is not October, but October follows September, which means that we would want 65% of the 300,000 because October is the month following the September sales. So I get 195,000 if I multiply 65% by 300,000. Now, does it carry over into November? Does it give us any information about the third month? It doesn't. So that would mean that we wouldn't collect anything for September and November. Okay, so now we're going to do October. So October is October, so that means that it's in the month of sale. So we'd want to multiply 262,500 by 30%. So when I do that, I get 78,750. And then I like to move horizontally. So I would want to find in the month following sale 65% times this number. So that would be 170,625. Okay, so now is November, are we going to pay for anything in November and October? We aren't, because October is behind November, so it didn't give us any information about that, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm just going to put a dash through there because we're not going to pay anything for October for November. But we are going to pay in November. So what we would do is that November does equal November, so these months are the same months, so that means it's the month of. So we'd multiply the 30% times the 225,000, and that gives me 67,500. Okay, so are we done? Do we just sum these up and we're done? We're actually not, because the cash collections that we made, the 25% that reduced this into sales on account are actually going to be part of our collections in October and November. So what I would do is I would just reduce 350,000 by 262, or you can multiply this number by 25%, whatever works for you. So the difference between these two numbers is 87,500, and the difference between these two numbers is 75,000. So that's the cash I collected, the actual cash. So now we want to sum everything up for our total cash collections. Okay, so if I sum everything up, I get 361,250 and 313,125. So that gives me my total cash collections for October and November. Now, part 2 asks us about the balance of accounts receivable on November 30th. So I want to bring us back to the problem that we have, and I'm going to grab my highlighter. And this is something that if we didn't read the problem carefully, we probably wouldn't have caught it, and we would be really struggling. So it says, Ivan writes off uncollected accounts at the end of each quarter. So at the end of each quarter. So let's think about the quarters. So quarters have 3 months. Let's remember that. That's one that a lot of people get tripped up on. So quarter 1 is January, February, March. The second quarter would be April, May, June, and then August, September, and October, November, and December. So we're dealing with this quarter right here. We're dealing with October, November, and December. So at the beginning of this quarter, at the end of this quarter, everything got written off from this. So we're not going to worry about September, and we're not going to worry about August. So as we go into October, we have an accounts receivable balance, on October 1st of 0. We don't have any accounts receivable, again, because they told us that we wrote it off. So we don't have anything, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have some things that we're expecting to collect from October and November still. So uncollected from October and November. I'm just not going to write it out, but I would write it out on your test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this total sales on account that I have, so 262,500, and I'm going to reduce it by what I've already collected. So my 78,750 and my 170,625. So total for that, I get 13,125. So I'm still waiting on that. I'm still waiting on this $13,000. Okay, so then for November, I would take this sales on account number again. So that's where I got that previous one. I'm just going to take 225,000. So I get that from here. And then I'm going to reduce it by what I collected in November, which was 67,500. And if I subtract those two, I get 157,500. So my accounts receivable balance on November 30th would be these three things added together. So my total would be 170,625. So that's the answer for that question. Again, this wouldn't be a very big points problem, but it's something that if you can get the points, it's great.